all of the audio and everything else so that it's going to be nice and easy to access when we get into that station. So looking forward to that. Just give it a few more minutes before we get thoroughly into things, although I'm not expecting tons of viewers, not like the old Top Clack days. I think it's going to be a little bit quieter, especially for workshop stuff. I don't think people are quite as interested in this as they are the keyboards. Good, I'm glad there's no interference. As I say, I have tweaked and changed everything around as best I could. That has meant reducing the gain slightly on the microphone, but that means that the volume's slightly quieter as well. So I would rather have quiet audio, but good quality audio than loud audio that's terrible. That would just be a turn off for everyone. Okay, going to do a few things today as well. I also want to talk about, as well as doing the laser cutting, you can see it's all prepped up here, ready for a lube station, as well as doing a bit of laser cutting, a bit of CAD, and a little bit of Lightburn software stuff today. I kind of also want to talk about some of the streams that we're going to be doing in the near future as well, because I want to stream more and do different things. So not just rely on keyboards and keyboard related stuff, but try and move more into kind of like my makering hobby type stuff. So prototyping stuff, making random things, and using this as an opportunity to share how I do that and how I work all of that with you guys. So that's the plan. That's the plan. Demotex, thank you very much for joining. Good evening, man. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. I think one of those boxes is actually for you. Yeah, it's the DHL pile. It's all by the door, ready to go first thing in the morning. There's quite a lot of boxes in that pile. So I think one of those might be yours. We've got Thrax here as well. He says, "Hey Jay, hey man, good to see you. Glad to see you on stream." Yeah. So this time next week, we're not going to be doing laser cutting, and we're not going to be doing keyboards either. So during the week, I'm going to be doing some more streams. I think we're going to do some stuff on the laser and kind of a bit of woodworking during the middle of the week, if I find the time in between doing my day job, which is now running this place, prototypist. As well as that, next weekend, I'm actually going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be taking my Dreamcast console and retrofitting it out and doing a few different things. So we're going to be putting a HDMI mod in there, we're going to be doing a battery mod, we're going to be doing a few other bits and pieces, a GD emulation package as well. So we're going to be really tricking out my Dreamcast. So there's going to be a whole raft of different types of content on stream. As well as that, I am going to be building, using a similar setup to this, my actual portable streaming station that I'm going to use to make these streams in the future and give you better quality as well. So that might happen this week or next week, depends on when all of the parts for that arrive. I'm still waiting on all of the wood that I need for that to build the actual desk and the station itself. And I'm waiting on, I think, 1,000 screws as well, because I think that's pretty much what it's going to take. The casters and a load of like uninterruptible power supplies and other things have turned up for it. So we're good from the technology front. We just need the actual hardware, the wood itself, to turn out. So that's going to be the plan for next week. 3 streams in total. So one, doing a bit of woodworking, creating some frames for some of my playing cards. I have rolls of uncut sheets of playing cards. We're going to be creating some frames for that and doing a bit of woodworking. Then we're going to be modding a Dreamcast and fitting all of the relevant mods to that I have, a few different replacement ones. And then we're going to be building the actual streaming station as well. So lots and lots to do in the next couple of weeks on stream. As well as that, I am expecting to take delivery tomorrow of my Vesta board. Now, if you guys haven't seen a Vesta board, I encourage you to Google it. I'll type the name out into chat so that you guys can have a look at it. But this is basically a flip slat display, which I can configure to do anything. And it's basically going to sit on the wall right above where we are now, actually, right above the laser cutter. And it's going to sit up there, and it's going to be programmed to show me things that are happening on the website, sales and stuff. It's going to be showing me things like visitors to the website. It's going to be showing me all sorts of different information, and it's going to have the whole rolling flip slat display that you used to see in airports and train stations around the world. So that should arrive tomorrow. I've had confirmation that's going to arrive tomorrow. So there will be a stream at some point on 2 things. One, how I'm going to fit that to the wall. I'm going to stream me doing some DIY and actually fitting that to the wall, and actually mounting it and running all of the electrical supply and everything else that I need to do for that. And then the second thing that I'm going to do is actually program it on stream as well. So we're actually going to take the programming steps on stream too. Yeah, it's going to be like an airport. Yeah, the idea is that I can have it up here in the workshop. It's on the wall. I can be anywhere in the workshop. I'll be able to see it. I'll be able to hear it do its bitty thing. It's going to tell me if there's a new sale that I need to go package. It's going to tell me if there's a new thing that I need to do. It's going to remind me about meetings. It's going to remind me about things in my calendar, all sorts of stuff. It's going to remind me when products need to go live on the site. It's going to remind me when products need to be taken down from the site. I'm really, really excited to get that fitted. IFTT integration, yeah. It's going to be pretty cool to get that working. I used to have a Lametric. I used to have one of those. It was great, but it could only do one thing at once. I don't know if they changed them, but it could only do one thing at once. And I think I had it to tell me when I had new Twitter followers, which I rarely use Twitter, so it never really did anything. It's going to be interesting. The other thing I want to do as well is on the Vesta board. I want to set it up so that if people tweet me, and I'm going to set up a prototype Twitter account purely for this, their messages will display up on the Vesta board as well. So I'll just be able to see them tweet me up on the screen anytime. I'm sure I'm going to get some crap through that, but I'm hoping that it's going to give people an opportunity to send some nice messages as well. I can see it's going to be in constant motion considering how busy you are. Yeah, but that's kind of the fun of it, right? It's kind of the fun. Yeah, I'm really, really excited for that. Like, of all my geek purchases, that's got to be up there. That's one of the top 3 or 4 things I've ever bought that I'm really, really excited for. So yeah, so that's going to arrive this week as well. So once I've built the streaming station, that's when I'll get into the Vesta board stuff, because then I can have a nice seat and show you how I code it and everything else, and how we get it working and how we integrate it with all of the different bits I need to integrate it with. But I will do a stream, a really short stream, where I actually mount it on the wall as well. It's going to be messy and it's going to be quick, but it's going to be an interesting thing. So lots and lots coming, guys. If anyone's done any of the Dreamcast mods as well, I'm keen to hear from you if you want to DM me. I've never done a DC HDMI mod before. I've never done the GDMU mod before, and I've never done the knock to a fan upgrade, and I've never done the PSU power replacement either. But we're going to do all of those on stream in one go. That's the plan. And I'm going to go from having a standard Dreamcast to having a fully tricked out Dreamcast is the hope, is the real hope. But yeah, the Vesta board is going to be interesting. Well, NAS, I don't know if you remember this, but on the Dreamcast, it has this issue with the fans where it gets really hot and really loud, and my Dreamcast is really, really, really loud. So the idea is that I can make it run cooler using a knock to a fan, but it does mean like 3D printing a shroud and everything else. So that's already done. I've already printed off the parts that I need for those, but it's going to be interesting to put it all together. Anarchy says, never had a Dreamcast, but bringing back retro tech will be cool. Yeah, retro tech is one of the things I really enjoy. Like the flip slat display, I like old things. I don't know if you guys saw my Insta stories, but I actually have a really old Copal clock, which has got the Copal Sunbeam in bright yellow, which is a flip clock from the 1970s, and I use that in my office. That's on my desk every single day, and I fully restored that from non-working condition to working condition. So there's going to be some old retro tech as well, and I don't know if you remember, but I actually did a Game Boy Advance update as well on Twitch. This was on Top Pack days, and I think it was during lockdown last year, I changed the whole case to a metal one and upgraded the screen to a backlit display and did 1,001 other things to it. It's a great little device now. I fully love that. It's fantastic on journeys and everything else. You can tell I like retro tech from some of your personal keys in my collection. Yeah, I've got 2 whole racks full of vintage keyboards now. I didn't know what I had until about 2 days ago when a friend called Tinkerton came around and he catalogued my whole collection of keyboards, everything that I own keyboard-wise. The numbers were shocking, I'll be honest. So yeah, we'll maybe cover that in one stream. Maybe I'll do a bit of a show and tell of my whole keyboard collection at some point in a stream. Fruit Loops, thank you very much for the follow, and Sunkini as well. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for the follows. The JO1 is based on a vintage design keyboard. Yeah, it's actually based on the original Commodore keyboards, which I have 3. One I gave to a friend called James, who does a lot of my CAD work for me, if he's watching. Oh, there he is, and he pops up. They're right there. James, thank you very much for joining. Yeah, James does all my CAD work, but he has one of my Commodore boards, so now I'm down to 2. I have a PC-10 and a PC-5, but the J01 was 100% inspired by that board and 1,000 other vintage boards. But yeah, the whole of the J01, the original version and the revision version, has its roots in those vintage boards. That's where most of my design ideas come from. Maybe he found a special AEK2 as well. I did, I found your AEK2. So I have a couple of Apple extended keyboards, vintage ones. I have a really, really cool one that has Arabic sublegends on, which is one of only a handful known. But I also found for Dematax a Hungarian layout one, and I bought that for him and I'm going to ship it over to him. It's actually in my workshop, it's just over there on the side. I know exactly where it is. Yeah, the Boxy Pixel Game Boy is exactly what I did. In fact, I have it in the other room. I can show it later on. But we converted it to a black, anodized black case. It's now full metal. It's got a backlit display. It's got an SD card. It's got USB-C. Works really well. Internal battery. Will the catalogue be published? Would be interested to have as a reference for inspiration in the future. I haven't decided yet. So the reason I haven't decided whether I'm going to share my keyboard catalogue is I'm thinking about offloading something. I have too much stuff, and I have more stuff than I can appreciate. So there is a high likelihood that some of that stuff will get sold and will be on the relevant mech markets and everything else. Not for silly prices, but for fair and reasonable prices in the near future. I just have more stuff than I can enjoy, and I have more stuff than it is necessary for me to draw inspiration from. So I have multiples of the same board in a lot of cases, and so they're going to disappear, they're going to get sold or whatever. There's other boards I've never used, that I've built and then never used. They clearly don't need to be in the collection. I'm only going to keep stuff that either has a personal, emotional meaning to me, or I'm going to keep stuff that has some sort of use case I need it for, whether it be a travel board, or whether it spends a lot of time on my desk, or whether I just like it, or whether I've helped the designer, or whether it's been gifted to me, or whatever. I'm only going to keep boards that have a special reason for being in part of my collection. That's the plan. So I don't know if I'm going to publish a catalogue, but it might be published after I've curated my collection down to what I feel is a reasonable number. Karcher, good evening. Thank you very much for joining, good sir. Glad to see you. We're just talking future streams, what's upcoming on the Prototypist stream list, and also getting ready to do some laser cutting today, which you can see just in the top corner, just up here. Just up here. That's really hard to work out where it is, because this camera, as I look at it, as you see me right now, it's actually reversed for me. So you see me the correct way around, but I see the mirror image. So it's really hard for me to work out where I need to point. Anyway, I'll get used to it. So yeah, so just to recap, we've got the Dreamcast stream where we're going to modify my Dreamcast and upgrade it. I'm going to say upgrade lightly, but we're going to improve it, I think. We've got the Vesta board coming, where we're going to actually install the Vesta board on the wall, and then we're going to code it as well, so make sure it does all of the features that I want it to have, and show you guys how we do that. And we've also got the actual stream station build that we're going to do in the next couple of weeks as well. So we're going to build a mobile streaming station, so I can go anywhere in the workshop and show you guys anything that I'm working on, whether that be screen printing, quality control, packaging, coding, laser cutting, you name it, whatever I'm doing, 3D printing. I'll be able to take you guys around the workshop and show you guys what I'm doing and how that's going to be. I can stream it, I can share it with you guys. You know, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be so much better than this. So yeah, lots to come, as well as a few keyboard builds. There are going to be some more standard keyboard builds as well. So yeah, exciting. Nice apron. What do I keep myself? So this is my actual workshop apron. I usually keep a number of things on me in the apron. There's a couple of them on the desk right now. Almost everything I do is on my iPad. So I have an Apple Pencil for my iPad Pro. So that usually sits in here, just like that. I also have, I've taken everything out because I'm streaming. I also have my everyday carry, which is my knife. So here we go. This is a Zesty VF01. That carries around with me. I also have a pen and a pencil as well, because you always need those. I usually have a marker. I always carry my phone around with me as well, because I need my phone. And then the final thing I have in my front pocket is my maker knife, which is my box cutter and my general utility knife. As you can see from the wear, this knife gets a ton of use, much more so than the Zesty, but yeah. That's what I usually carry in my apron, but the apron's more to protect me and everything else. It's fire retardant and everything, so just keeping safe, especially when we're using the laser. That's what the apron's in place for. I've heard there's a pocket for chocolate digestives. Unconfirmed rumour, that's conjecture, James. There's no digestives at the minute, but that's conjecture. Way back, Windowgator says, way back when, my buddy and I played so much House of the Dead on Dreamcast. When the Dreamcast did what it does best and broke, we could still play it, but there was just no zombies on the screen. We managed to complete the game. Nice, nice. That knife sounded like a locking one. Yes, the Zesty is a locking one. It's only used in the workshop. I do not carry this outside of the workshop. It never leaves this building. It never goes outside. It does lock. It does have a locking mechanism on it, but it doesn't go outside of the workshop. It's purely a work tool knife. I feel like all keyboard enthusiasts always have knives. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I mean, I need them in the workshop, right? Like, it's a thing. It's a tool that I need to hand, usually really quickly, opening boxes, opening packages, cutting things, opening, like the way that boxes come, they're all sealed together with the plastic wrap. Have to cut that open. A knife is needed. A knife is a number one utensil in my hand. So it's now an empty pocket then. Maybe. In fact, I put the Apple Pencil in the wrong pocket. It goes in this one just here, like that. But we don't need it on stream. Mick Dundee wouldn't call it a knife. No, Mick Dundee would not call it a knife, but I do. My everyday carry is a peasant knife. It's super inexpensive and UK legal. So this isn't legal for me to carry outside, absolutely not, but it's completely legal in the workshop. And this was £28. It's 28 British pounds, which is about $35, I think. That's all it was, and it was on a Kickstarter that I backed. So yeah, there we go. The Maker knife, that came from Geico, which I've put down now, not put it back in my pocket. This came from Geico. I also have a few other tools from Geico on their Kickstarters as well, but I use the ceramic blades pretty much exclusively in this because it's just really nice to have a ceramic blade. Any fixed blades? I don't have fixed blades, no. I find them very dangerous in workshops because you can leave them and you can pick them up and you can get them covered up in a bit of cardboard or a bit of paper and pick them up and just grab it. And yeah, fixed knives worry me in a workshop, so no, I don't have any fixed knives. I'm not into knives, I prefer to carry 9mm. No guns here, no guns here. I have my butterfly knife for that purpose. I'll do it in a flashy way. Yeah, I'm not into that. I'm more into just having a tool. It's just a fundamental thing that I need to be able to do my work. Simple as that. I'm not into fancy knives. It doesn't need to be, a huge Damascus blade or anything like that. It just needs to be able to open boxes or chop things or cut things that I need to do. So, yeah, I'm not into all of that kind of thing. How is the streaming cart coming along? So I'm waiting on the parts for it. So everything is measured, everything is designed, everything is drawn up. I have all of the uninterrupted power supply that I need. I have cables on reels. So what you can't see is just above here, there's kind of like a fascia, and this wall behind me, that's behind where the camera is the backing onto the office, and onto that wall I'm going to fit like a retractable cord, which is a power supply. So I can run it anywhere in the workshop, and I'm also going to fit a retractable Ethernet cable. Those are all here, I just haven't fit them as yet. I need to do that. Maybe I'll fit them at the same time as the Vesta board and put it on stream. The actual cart itself, the streaming cart itself, all of the wood is ordered to be cut to size, but it hasn't arrived yet. I need to chase up when that's expected to arrive, but I think it's this week. Once it does, I will be streaming putting that together, and we're going to be using a few different joinery techniques, which aren't really joinery techniques. We're going to be using pocket holes, which people will hate, wood glue, brad nailing, and then just standard screwing and chamfering. So we're going to do a few bits though. It's going to take a couple of hours to get it put together at the very least. I think somewhere in the region of 6 hours is what I plan to put it together in. And then we have to paint it and do all sorts of stuff as well. You're looking at the top of the laser cutter. So we're going to be laser cutting some things today, Curious Yellow. So one of the things we're going to do today is show you guys a finished design in Fusion 360 of a lube station. That is for a friend, Gio. He asked for a custom one after we cut some lube stations the other day. So I'm going to show you guys that, how we export it from Fusion, how we import it into Lightburn, and how we then subsequently cut it on the laser cutter. This is why I handle to open boxes. I don't need anything like that. I did get bought a long time ago a samurai sword, which is Damascus steel. I'm pretty sure it's not anything special, but it's razor sharp, and it was a present, so I can't ever get rid of it. But it's not my kind of thing to have. The laser is not strong enough for that, and it's also an invisible laser. You can't actually see it. The red dot that you can see in the corner of the box just up here, that's just a guide laser. It's like a laser pointer pen. It's just a guide laser. It's not the actual laser that does the cutting. The laser that does the cutting is invisible and it's dangerous, which is why I'm wearing no sleeves that can get caught in the laser beam. Sleeves are rolled up. I also have apron on, which is fire retardant, which means I'm not going to set on fire if I do get myself caught in the laser beam. I also have a disclaimer that I do this with the laser lid up. If you do this in real life, you should always do it with the laser lid down, only so I can put the camera in the way so you can see. Can I blind someone from 1 kilometer away? No, and I would never try to, because that would be a horrendous thing to do. Okay, so let's flip over to the build string view so you guys can see what we're actually doing here. So as you can see, we've got some plastic already in the laser cutter. That is a 5mm thick sheet of acrylic. It's an offcut from the ones we made the other day, and that's going to be the material that's going to provide us enough kind of space to make Geo's lube station. You can also see that we've got some little squares around as well. You'll see all of these little squares around just like this and this. They're basically there to lift the acrylic that we're using off of the laser bed, because if we cut directly on the laser bed, where that honeycomb meshes, we get little striations, vertical lines of burn marks into the acrylic. If you raise it up just a little bit by putting 5mm blocks underneath it, we don't get any of those marks, and we get the edges of the acrylic to be nice and crystal smooth. To show you what I mean by that, we get the edges to be like glass. That's what we can get out of this. Like glass. Wilson Keeps, thank you very much for the follow, man. Thank you, dude. Fully appreciate that. Ordered the stations at 12:30, can't wait for it to come in. Dude, yeah, they'll all ship out tomorrow. Everyone who ordered a loop station today, they'll get shipped out tomorrow. Pure Gamer, thank you very much for the follow, man. I appreciate you. No finishing needed, no. Absolutely not. We get it like glass off the laser cutter just doing this. And if we do need to finish it, if we do have any of those striations or marks or anything else, we have the map gas. So we can use the map gas to just trim the edges, melt the edges back together. So yeah. Okay, without much further ado, let's just load up on Fusion. Let me load that up and I'll show you what we cut last week and what we're going to cut this week. Okay. Where's the option to show you guys Fusion? Here you go. So here you can see in Fusion, guys, these are the loop stations that we cut last week. They hold 30 switches, they hold 30 stems, they have a prototypist logo etched into them, and I will go grab one to show you exactly how those come off. Now, it's worthwhile mentioning that these are in stock on the prototypist website, and yeah, I'm going to self-shill because it's my stream, so why the hell not? Now, as well as having these ones, as I say, Geo did want one in this colorway, so he wanted one in this purple. This is how they come out. This is how they look. Pretty cool. And then you can see we get the glass-like edges. So there we go. Now Geo wanted one in this colorway, but he didn't want one this small. He didn't want one that just had 30 switches and 30 stem holders. He wanted one that had 60 switches at a minimum. So I dug through Fusion and I found an old file of mine which does have exactly what it needs. Now I used to cut these ones out of 10mm thick acrylic and didn't put bump-ons underneath, but we don't need to do that anymore. We can cut him one out of 5mm and provide some bump-ons. It's a little bit cheaper on the material. I mean, it's going to cost him less. And here you go, guys, you can see this file just here. So there you go, you can see that this is the file itself. I'm hoping that Fusion's updated for you guys so you can see it. And you can see that we've now got rid of basically the stem holders on the right hand side, and we've just got the switch openings and the prototypist logo. This is all there in Fusion. All we're going to do is just export this layer as DXF. I could go through and show you guys how to build this from the ground up, and I think I'll probably do a stream on that at some point, which will basically show you how we amend plates, how we do different things for the keyboard community in CAD from just a single 2D point of view. Because that's all this is. It's not a 3D drawing, it's just a 2D drawing. It's just a sketch within Fusion that allows us to create a file that the laser cutter can understand. Going to burn that lens. I'm not going to burn any lenses. Do you think that you would ever offer any sort of cerakoting service, maybe in time for the salvation? Maybe. I have dabbled with cerakoting. I do have a station up at the far end of the workshop that I could use for cerakoting. It's in pieces at the minute, but I could put it together. It's actually in the back seat of the car that I have up there. So I have another car in the corner. It's actually in the back seat of the car there, but I could put it together and we could use it for cerakoting. And if I bought a small oven, we could actually oven coat the parts as well so the Cerakote dries quicker. So it might be something I look at, but I don't know if it'll be anytime soon. I haven't decided that I'm going to do it or not. We already have a sandblasting cabinet and everything else, so we have half the tools that we need to do it. We'll see how that goes. I think the chemical bath making thing is a bit more messy. You mean anodization? Yeah, I'm not going to do anodization in-house. I don't have the space, I don't have the time, and I don't have the capacity or knowledge to be able to do anodization in-house. That's not something I can offer. Cerakote though, probably. So how do I get the edges so good, Thrax says? So lots and lots of time calibrating and testing the laser and getting the settings for the laser just right. So getting the perfect focal height, which we can show you on the laser in a little bit how we do that. Getting the perfect material. The quality of the material also matters significantly. A lot of material is sold as premium acrylic. It's not. You have to find the right cast acrylic products. So you can't use standard extruded acrylic, it has to be cast acrylic, otherwise you will never get the glassy edges. That's just a fact of how laser cutting works. 60 switches would be really nice. Here you go, dude, this is the one we're going to cut. So we're going to cut this in 5mm first of all for Geo. After that, I'm going to set the laser going, cutting a series of ones in 10mm thick acrylic as well, which are going to go on the website. And they're going to be in clear cast acrylic, so they're going to look very much like my little laser focus tool did. So they're going to be in the same material as this, which is 10mm thick, and basically comes out looking like glass. And we're going to cut some of those at the end. Maybe I'll give one away, who knows, who knows. Is this going to be on sale on Prototypist? No, the 60 key one in purple will not be for sale. The only purple ones that are going to be for sale are these ones, which are already in stock and on sale right now. This is literally a one-off for a friend who is going to pay through the nose for it. He's not really, but he's going to have to pay a little bit. The issue is more when you have crack paths and laser stuff. The thing with lasers is that you need to make sure that it's calibrated in the right way. Like, pathing is fine, the software does that for you, you don't need to worry about that too much. What you need to make sure is that the laser's running 100% smoothly, that your rails are linear and parallel, which can be a pain of an ass job to do, that all of your cables and cords and everything are running exactly right, that your stepper motors are calibrated to understand exactly what a millimeter is or a part of a millimeter is, your focal height is correct, your laser is kept clean, the fact that you've got to have air compressing power to push all the dust and dirt away from the laser itself, that you're using the right water in your cooling and everything else. 1,001 things. Laser cutting is not simple to get great results. It's really, really complex. If you want good results, you can get away with it with maybe 100 hours practice and a bit of time on the laser with one material. If you want excellent results, it needs a lot more than that. If you want just results that most people would be happy with, you can probably do it relatively quickly, but it does need a lot of work. Knowing the switch dimensions to hold the switches snug without falling out would help with making switches stay in place on thicker switch plates. Yes, you can do it on thicker switch plates, but in my head it's still not worth it because you still have to use a 5mm thick plate, otherwise the switches are the plate's just going to drop over time anyway. Or the switch is just going to be able to move up and down. You're never going to get them to clip in unless you mill the acrylic, which is a terrible idea. So you need to use 5mm acrylic so everything is perfectly flush when you solder it together. Yeah, I'm going to actually cut some clear 60 key ones today, and those will be in stock. Yeah, I might give one away towards the end of the stream. We'll see. We'll see how fast they cut. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to export this file from Fusion, and all I'm going to do is just drop onto the sketch if it allows me. And it's crashed. Great, typical. And we're just going to save it as a DXF, and we're just going to save that to the desktop, and we're going to call it Geo 60. Okay. Now we've done that, we don't need Fusion anymore, so we can get rid of that. But what we do need is Lightburn. So this is the software that we use to calibrate the laser cutter and also to tell it how it's going to make whatever it's going to make. The first thing to call out is across the top bar, you can see there's a whole raft of different colors. Those different colors are basically speeds, feeds, laser power, and all sorts of other calibrated parts of what the laser cutter can do. And when we import files to it, we give different lines in different areas different colors, and that means that the laser treats those parts differently. So I'll show you what I mean by that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab that file from the desktop, and I'm just going to drop that in. Okay, so that's come in absolutely huge, so we need to reduce that by down to 10%. There we go. So this is our file. You can see it's coming with a black line, so I'm just going to put it roughly in the area where we need it on the laser cutter and zoom in. So you guys can see there that that's now all highlighted in black, which I know it's going to not show great on the screen, but it's just a limitation of the software. Now that isn't set to the right cutting speed that we need. We're going to be using 5mm acrylic. So I need to do the first thing, which is tweak this file and make sure that all of those lines are actually cut for 5mm acrylic. So I have a setting for that. It is pink. That puts us to pink. Now the next thing we realize is that the PT logo in the bottom right hand corner is now going to be done as pink. We don't want it as pink because we want to laser etch it, not laser cut it. We want to etch it so it looks something like that. So what we need to do is we need to select all of the files. We need to make sure that they're ungrouped. These already are. And then we need to select the files that we want to tweak and change. So we're going to highlight those. I have a setting that is laser etch, and you can see that that's now gone green. Now the next thing to do is to make sure that in our order of operations, which you can see over on the right hand side, you can see that the pink layer in the box to the right, the two boxes on the right hand side, the top one, you can see that the pink layer is going to cut first and the green layer is going to cut second. We definitely need to flip that around. Always needs to be the etching that you do first. And the reason for that is because we raise the workpiece material off of the workbed. If we cut the other areas, the parts could shift or drop in places. So when we cut that whole outline around the outside of the part, if that part then drops into place, that PT logo will not be etched correctly. So we always do the etching first, then we do the cutting of the cutouts, which are the individual switch cutouts, then we do the outside cutout afterwards. So that's always the order of operations. So we're just going to tweak that round, move that the other way around as well there. So now you guys can see that we're going to do the green first, then we're going to do the pink, and that should work nicely. Let's just catch up with chat. +1 column and 69 switches would fit. Yeah, this is just the one that we're going to do for Geo. It's pretty much what he asked for, and at the same time I can then laser cut some in some 10mm thick acrylic and get some really nice results from that as well. Literally getting the purple one so it look nice on my wall. I'm just a ridiculous person. Hey man, it's a good purple. These look so good in real life, dude. Like, these look so good. The purple looks great. I just realized that's a little bit blurry. There you go. Looks so good in real life. Super happy with how these came out. Super happy. How much will the clear 61s cost? Now the clear material is 10mm thick, and it's more than twice the price of the 5mm material. So they will be about £25, unfortunately. I can't make them any cheaper because I'd be making a huge loss on them if I did make them cheaper. They're going to be expensive, but that's because they're 10mm thick acrylic and it's cast acrylic and it cuts like glass. So sadly, those are going to be a little bit more expensive, probably around £25 including VAT. A little bit cheaper if you're overseas, plus postage on top. These ones are in the store for less than £15. So yeah. Just heads up, the following overlay was behind the program window. Oh, interesting, interesting. The following overlay? Not quite sure what you mean. Not quite sure. Anyway, it seems like we're okay. But I'll take a look at that later on. You can point me in the right direction. Oh, the following overlay. Oh, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Yes. Okay. Let me adjust it. Yes. Yes. Okay. I know exactly what you mean. There we go. That is fixed. That will not happen again. So very, very thank you to Mavs Keebs, Dastardly Duchess, and Nico624 for your follows. I appreciate those guys. If they were blocked by the program of the software, I apologize. They won't be anymore. She was pretty excited. Well, we're going to cut in a second. You can see now that we've got everything ready in the software. So the light burn is ready. What I'm going to do next is click on send, which is on the right hand side. That's going to send the file over to the laser cutter. We're going to overwrite the file that's already there. The next thing that I need to do is just nip over to the laser cutter and just make sure that everything is okay and make sure that it all is lined up correctly. So there's a little screen on the laser cutter. I can't show you it because the camera will never focus on it, but I'm just going to go through and make sure that it agrees with everything being correct, which it is doing so far. Okay. Now we've done that, the next thing to do is to make sure that we've got the correct depth of the laser. So I have my laser cutting focus tool, which is here, and this tells me, based on this piece being on the work bed and this piece being on the edge of the laser, that the laser is at the right height. So it's nice and easy for me to set up. So next job to do is to do that. So I'm going to turn off the Lightburn software because we don't need that anymore, and I'm going to show you how we do this. First thing we do is move the laser so it's over the workpiece. The next thing we do is we take our laser measuring tool, we put it on the workpiece and we slide it up to the laser. And we see that it just touches this ledge while staying flush on the bottom part of the laser there. If the bed was too high or too low, it wouldn't touch like that. It would actually be up here, and we know we'd need to lower the bed down, or it would be underneath and we know we need to raise the bed up. Just there is the perfect place. It sits nice and flush on the workpiece, also sits nice and flush on the laser. That's how we know that the laser is calibrated to the right place. And that means that when we use the 10mm material later on, I'll show you guys how we have to adjust the bed height to accommodate that. Next thing to do is to frame the piece of work. So now what we're going to do is we're going to press the frame button. And what this is going to do is this is going to draw on the workpiece where the actual design is going to go. So we're going to zoom in a little bit. Try and zoom in so you guys can see this. So if I hit the frame button now, you'll see that it's going to cut that piece just out of there. Now the aim here is to use as little waste material as possible, so we're just going to adjust where this is going to start cutting from, just by moving the workpiece just slightly. We're going to reframe it. Just check again that everything's correct, that it's all moving perpendicular to itself. Just need to move up a touch, and there we go. That should now cut in the center of the workpiece and everything should be fine. All we need to do now is set this going, and that means I need to come back over to the Lightburn software, and all I need to do on here is just click start. And then we will see that the laser is now etching in the prototypist logo. So you'll start to see the prototypist logo appear where the lasers are etching right now. And then from there, it's going to do all of the rest of the stuff right around cutting the switches. Christy Manmeet, thank you very, very much for the follow. I appreciate that, my dude. Thank you, dude. So you can see we've got a PT logo engraved into the board, and now it's going to start cutting the switch cutouts. Thank you for using the apron this time. Yeah, no problems, no problem. Cozify, thank you very much for joining. Hey man, good to see you. Dirt Plums and Lavenders back in stock soon. Both will be back in stock at some point in the near future, yes. Lavenders towards the end of the summer. Dirt Plums, I'm not quite sure when, but should be at some point soon. Cozify, thank you so much for the follow, man. I really, really appreciate that. Really appreciate it. Can you silk screen the PC logo on the top of the apron? Yes, I can, and I'm actually going to stream myself doing that at some point when we do some screen printing. So it's going to have the PT logo just here in black. So yeah, black ink. GS has had a good bashing with the CR cars this weekend at the cottage, only broke 2 arms and one tire is coming unglued. I'm surprised they lasted that long in your hands, Gio. I'm surprised they lasted that long. For the laser cutter cam, we've got a Sony Alpha A6400. You can see it just in the background there. That's using for that, and for the face cam, we're using a Logitech Brio, but both of those are going to be upgraded to Sony Alpha A6400s when we build our mobile streaming station. And it will be the same cameras we used to use when we did the build streams on TopClack, because I just need to unmount the camera from the ceiling in the office and put it onto my streaming rack when that's made and created. I didn't even know we could get Jurek Poms from UK vendors. Yes, I had like 10,000 of them in stock, but they all sold out. They all sold out. Yeah, I have 2 of them. I have one just over here, and I have one in the workshop office, which is just behind here, which if you look at any of the Top Click build streams I did, you'll see them on there. Just look for any J builds on Top Click on YouTube, and you'll see that the top-down camera was an A6400 as well. Full speed into a tree tire first, multiple times. That doesn't seem to surprise me that it's damaged then. Adam64 says, everything you carry seems to sell out so quickly. Man, no matter how much I buy, people always seem to buy the stock out incredibly quickly, and I don't know what I can do to stop that happening, because even if I buy more, it seems that it all sells out. So I have some alpacas coming soon, and I think I've bought enough of those so that they'll be in stock for a couple of months, but I'm really worried that they're going to sell out really quickly, and I genuinely don't know how to control that. It's a really difficult thing. Like the Wook switch pullers, I bought enough that I thought they would be still in stock come summertime, and they sold out in 1 day. They sold out in 1 day, and that was they were in the hundreds of orders. Like literally, I had hundreds of orders for switch pullers in 1 day. It was crazy. Yeah, like they went so fast. I think it went in 5 hours, and I had hundreds of them in stock. I've ordered triple the amount that I ordered last time for the next round of the switch pullers, so hopefully they'll do okay, but we shall see. We shall see. Will there be any Striker extras? Yes, there will be Striker extras. Striker's actually going to go up for pre-order in a couple of weeks once I've paid the GMK bill and sorted out all of the desk mats and everything else. Striker pre-orders will go up. They'll be slightly more expensive than the group buy, but then also extras will be available after the group buy and pre-orders ship. How many of the switch pullers were international? 6 orders. Just 6 orders were international. The rest of the orders were UK. Touching Cloth, what a great username. Thank you very much for the follow, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, just 6 orders were international for the switch pullers. Which is kind of nuts when you think about it. It's kind of nuts. Okay, let's take a look at how the laser cut is coming on. I may just do a second operation right at the very end and re-etch the logo in Geo, because the small P isn't quite there, so we may just do that a second time just to make sure it looks nice. The UK side is growing. Yeah, the UK side is growing. I got PBT Notion in stock and it sold out in 2 days, and that wasn't even announced before I put it in stock. Like that wasn't even a planned drop, that just happened to happen really quickly because I got the stock in. So I'm having to buy more PBT Notion. That's something else that I've tried to arrange this weekend. Yeah. A while away yet, but will there be extras for the Cam Super User Rama Cap? Regret not adding one to my order. Yes, there will be. I don't know when, but there absolutely will be extras for that. I think they'll be available when the group buy ships, which could be a year away, sadly. But yes, I did order some extras. Not many extras for the Rama Caps, but I did order some. Thank you very much, Handy Heart, for the follow. I appreciate that. Appreciate you. That's so kind of you. Thank you very much for the follow. It just feels that the UK market is less vocal, so a lot of things you see are elsewhere USA based, which isn't bad, but it just sways perspective. I try and bring everything that goes on in the US to the UK. If I can bring it here, I will, even if it means I've got to buy a ton of stock that doesn't sell very quickly. Like I've got tons of stuff here that just hasn't sold out. Candy mats, for example, they're just sat there, they're not selling. They're very expensive for what they are, but they're a nice bit of kit. But I will keep trying to bring stuff here, and some of it disappears off the shelves really quickly, and I can't keep up, as you can see. Others just seem to dwindle out of the door, so it's really difficult to justify what people want. We're just British, we'll just grumble passive-aggressive things when we don't get things. It's so true. People tell me afterwards, like, I wish you'd sold this. It's like, well, tell me you want me to sell it, and I will try and procure that for you guys. I'll try and make sure that we stock as much of the keyboard stuff as we can. We'll try. Will you be stocking cobalt switches? Still TBC. Still TBC. Don't know 100% on that. I don't want to stock every type of switch because there are so many. and having so much stock of switches is difficult to manage, but I will stock as many as I can. I think I've got 30 different types of switch orders coming into the workshop in the next 6 months. So there's a lot of different types of switch coming, and there's thousands of each type of switch coming as well. I think the total orders for something like 300,000 switches, just to give you kind of an idea of the volume. So we shall see. Ferris, was it yourself that was asking for POM plates? Because I think I have an example of the POM plate that you were talking about, if it was you. Someone was asking if I had POM plates for tray mounts, and I do. I have ANSI and ISO ones. This is an ANSI layout one, but it's a standard tray POM plate for an ANSI mount. I have ISO ones as well. So if anyone does want one of those, just DM me and I'll sort one out. Any ETA on the Heine PCBs? Yeah, this month, next month, May, is when I'm expecting them. I'm expecting them to arrive at some point in May. They'll be shipped out within 24 hours of me receiving them. So yeah, looking forward to those coming in. Any of Gazoo's switches coming in? No, I don't think I do have any of Gazoo's switches. Last time I asked him, he said he didn't want any more vendors, so I don't believe I can. If that changes, I will let you know. Watch out for the announcements. We will be in that kind of range by the end of this year, Good Guy Entity. By the end of this year, I should have a similar number of switches, ranges available as Ilum KB, and I am talking with TKC about doing the tangerines and a few other switches. No promises yet, but I'm trying to arrange for those to happen as well for both UK and EU. So we shall see. We shall see. No promises, but it's something that is being actively looked at. Okay, getting there on the switches. You can see sometimes when the laser flashes and pops brighter, that's where we would have had a vertical striation mark in the actual acrylic if we didn't lift it and raise it off the bed by that 5mm. Makes all the difference. A little bit of time left on the laser. I'm definitely going to re-etch the PT logo in there. The PT logo on this one, just because of the layout, is smaller than the PT logo on here, so it hasn't etched quite the same. So I'm just going to tweak that ever so slightly and re-etch it over the top. So we'll do that in a few minutes after it's finished. Vogon PT, thank you so much, Vogon, for the follow, man. I really, really appreciate that. Welcome to the second ever Prototypist stream, just the second Prototypist stream. There's going to be far more to come. Just to recap, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have streams doing a load of different stuff. So there's going to be a stream on building some frames, doing some woodwork and making some frames for some uncut decks of playing cards. I collect decks of playing cards. I have some uncut sheets I'm going to mount on the wall at home. So we're going to be doing a stream where I build some frames for that and make them all look nice and pretty. As well as that, this time next week, Sunday evening at 8 PM, I'm actually going to be modifying my Dreamcast console. So we're going to be fitting a DC HDMI, a new power supply. We're going to also be putting a GDMU in there, which means that I can play games off of an SD card, assuming I own the originals. This is backups only, guys. But play them all through HDMI. So we're going to do that mod this time next week. As well as that, I also have my mobile streaming station to build as well. So at the minute I'm using my packing desk or one of my packing tables to stream from. That's going to change, and I'm going to have a cart that will be my stream station that will be mobile, and I can move anywhere around the workshop. It's going to be on casters, on wheels, and it's going to have multiple camera mount points. It's going to have PC storage. It's going to have a nice desk placement storage. It's going to have monitor mounting. It's going to have all sorts of audio equipment on there. It's going to be a really great little cabinet that I can move around the workshop and share anything I'm doing. As well as that, I also have plans to do a stream for my Vesta board. If you guys haven't looked at a Vesta board, I have a flip slat display Vesta board coming. That arrives tomorrow. Once that's here, I'm going to do a stream at some point of me mounting that up on the wall, showing you guys how I do some DIY and mount that on the wall, running power cables and everything to it as well. Once that's all mounted and installed, I'm then going to do a stream later on where I'll actually program that to show me different things, like when a new sale happens that I need to package, or allow people from Twitter to send me messages to the Prototypist workshop just to say hi and whatever they want. They will be moderated, they won't just display anything. Just random things like that that we can do with that. So lots and lots of different stream stuff coming. As well as that, I'm also going to teach you guys how to do screen printing. So we're going to do some screen printing on boxes and t-shirts and things like that. The prototypist logos and a few of the bits and pieces we're going to do as well. So that's all coming to the workshop streams in this next couple of weeks. That's kind of what we've got for the next couple of weeks. There might also be some more laser cutting streams where we do something different than just loop stations. Let's catch up as well. Aren't you getting a 3D printer that can 3D print a keyboard? I already have it. So I have 3 3D printers already that are set up in the workshop already. If you watch my Instagram stories, you'll have seen those on more than one occasion. I have 2, so I have an Ender 3, which is just the standard one with a couple of small upgrades, and I have 2 Prusa Mark 3s. i3 Mark 3S. I have 2 of those in enclosures that print pretty much everything I give away for free with prototypist orders. But I have just taken delivery of a CR10, a Acrylic CR10 print mill. Now this is a 3D printer on a conveyor belt, which means that I can print items that are about a foot wide and about a foot tall, but they can be infinitely long. Theoretically, I can, as long as I have the desk space afterwards, because the conveyor belt will keep pushing the material along, I can build something that is infinitely long. So I'm going to be doing a Hyper 7 case before you know it. That's going to happen on that 3D print mill. So we're going to do a stream as well once the streaming station is set up, where I actually put the 3D print mill together and show you guys how that works as well. So that's coming too. I wanted to collect decks of cards when I was like 16, but I kept opening and ruining them. Oh dude, I've got like hundreds of decks of cards. There's like, I don't know, 10 in there. Yeah, there's loads in there. There's a few more in this one as well. I have another one of these that I made with more decks in. And I have decks just hanging around on the side. Yeah, I love playing cards, and I have a load of uncut sheets as well, which are just rolls and reels. Memento Mori. I don't have Memento Mori, I don't think, but I do have something similar. Where is it? I do have something similar. I have these, which are really cool. The artwork on these is kind of insane. I get in the right light. They're really nice. But I have loads of decks of cards. Will I be getting some HS60 PCBs? Yes, both the daughterboard version and the USB version as well, yeah. Didn't you do a PT stream where you showed off a Dolce portable computer that you're going to use? No, that was actually a top pack stream. That was a top pack stream where I did that. Loving the stream setup, says Vogon. Thanks, man. It's going to improve drastically in the near future because I'm going to build this mobile streaming cart, which is going to be really, really good and really useful. How do I find the Ender 3 print quality compared to the Prusas? The Prusas outclass it in every way. They are easier to set up, they're easier to use, they're easier to configure, the print quality is better out of the box, there are more upgrades that you can do from... The Ender was a good introduction to 3D printing, but I wouldn't recommend one for anyone who actually wants to learn about 3D printing. I would vastly recommend getting something a little bit better. Jay also with the flannels on the long beard, hipster right there. This is my lockdown beard, guys. This is my lockdown beard. Let's flip over to the camera. This is my lockdown beard, but I've recently had a haircut for the first time in a year, which is nice. So I don't have to wear a hat all the time anymore. But yeah, full on beard. But this is how I dress in the workshop. This is what I wear when I'm here packaging packages and doing. Are you planning to try and use that one for prototyping keyboard cases? That would be interesting. Yeah, I'm going to try and use the 3D print mill to do a load of different stuff. It will be able to enable me to print things off and have it just come off the end of the conveyor belt and drop into a bin. So when I use the Prusas right now, I print maybe 50 switch openers at a time. But what I'll be able to do on the print mill is just set it going and say, print this file and print it until you run out of filament. And it will just print one and it'll drop in the bin. It'll print another one, it'll drop in the bin. It'll print another one, it'll drop in the bin. Because the conveyor belt will just keep going. So I will be building keyboards on it and making some really long cases for things like the Hyper 7, which is that long-ish, give or take, something like that. But we'll also be doing a few of the bits and pieces. I probably won't be prototyping cases as full cases, but I might prototype sections of cases to test different fitment ideas. I haven't had a haircut since October and my hair looks like a helmet. So my last haircut was Wednesday. Prior to that, it was January 2020. So yeah, it was well over a year. Vogon says, tell me the truth, when it was time to cut the beard at the barber, you said nope, as I did. No, so I just told the barber to tidy it up. I said to the barber, tidy it up, give me some nice lines down the side, and make it look neat and tidy, and that's exactly what he did. And I'm really happy with the result. I'm going to keep the beard. Yeah, the 3D print mill's in a box just over here behind the camera. You can't see it. The wall kind of does this sort of shape. It goes along and then it goes in, and it's just over there in the corner. So we're going to be building that on stream in the near future. Okay, loop station is almost done. I'm hoping that the loop station itself doesn't drop or move when the cut's completed around the outside, because if it does, it means I can't redo the prototypist logo in the corner. So we will see if it does that or not. There you go. You guys can see that it's cutting nicely across the edge right now. We'll give it another minute and then we'll see what we're up to. But yeah, the 3D print mill is going to be a really big addition to the shop. It's going to add a lot of functionality. I'm really nervous to see if the piece moves, because normally you need to make sure your etching is done correctly first. I should have done the etching as a single standalone command first, but we'll see. Only thing needed is for that red laser to be turned to green. No, I can turn it off. The red laser isn't needed. You'll see it still cuts. You can't actually see the laser beam. The laser beam itself is invisible. The red laser beam is just, the red laser light is just to help us know where the actual laser itself is cutting, so we don't touch it there. But it's almost done now. It's going to go up to the top, it's going to go across the top, and then we'll see. We need to make sure there is zero movement, not even a tiny tenth of a millimeter movement. So we need to be watching this plate like a hawk as it finishes its cut to make sure it doesn't move whatsoever. So keep watching, guys. If we see it move, we can't re-etch that little P on the logo, and I'll be very sad. I'll be very, very sad. Well, it appears like the music has stopped. Let's have a look at why that might be. There we go. Okay, almost there, guys. Almost finished cutting this piece, and then, as I say, once we've done this piece, what we're going to do is we're actually going to cut some 10mm ones, and I'm going to give one away. So if you want to be in with a chance of winning one of the 10mm thick stations, then you need to stay around, because we're going to give that away towards the end of the stream. Firestaff, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Okay, and it has moved. We can see that it's already raised up before it's finished the cut. Let's see if it drops back down once it's finished. No. So we are not re-lasering the logo, but there we go, guys. There we go. Let's take a look at this and see how it came up. I'm just going to zoom the camera back out and give you guys a better view of the print bed itself. Okay. I'm just going to take this off the waste material. I'm going to grab the loop station out here. I'm just going to pop all of these parts out. So you can see here the logo, the P didn't quite work out as well as I'd hoped. Focus camera, please. But it's just about that. It will do. It will do. We live and learn, guys. We live and learn. So now all we're going to do is just clean up the work bed. Make sure we've got rid of all of the parts inside the switch cutouts that we don't need. I'm just going to take these off. And then the next thing we're going to do is just clean up the workspace as well, just to make sure we've got the right bits in place. So we just need enough bits to lift the workpiece off. So there we go, guys. This is how the loop station came out. And we're going to just peel off the backing strip now. And there we go. Got these lovely glassy edges. And there's the loop station. Show you guys it up close. There you go. Looks pretty good. You want all those little plastic squares for artisans? Vogan, if you want them, I'll send them to you. I will send them to you if you want some. I just use these as, now all that will happen is that these will be used as pieces to lift work pieces off the bed, so I'll just leave them on the work bed. I'm just going to make sure we're ready for most of these. And then we'll get some 10mm material in, and we'll show you guys how we're going to cut that. And you can see here, this is one of the sacrificial pieces that goes underneath, and you can see that it's actually been tortured and cut almost entirely all the way through by the laser beam as it's done whatever it was doing above it. Going to get these pieces out, and then we can put some more pieces back in and make sure that we're able to get the 10mm thick material in. Okay, so those pieces of material are all out. Now we're not going to use those to mount the workpiece, we're actually going to use pieces that I've already got in a tub, and the reason for that is because those pieces that we've just cut are warm and they're going to take a little while to cool down. We don't want any warm ones because they could stick to the next workpiece, or they could cause some issues with the laser refracting through because they've got the sticker on the base. Just going to put some new ones in like so. And the next thing to do is to get the next piece of acrylic ready. So for this, what I need to do is just peel off one side of the sticky tape and leave the other side off. Peel that off, just like so. The side that we've peeled off, that's going to go side up. I'm just going to pop this into here, just like so. Line it broadly with where we want it. Okay, next job is to make sure that the height of the laser is correct. So we're going to need our little height adjustment tool, which is here. And what we're going to have to do now is we're going to have to drop the bed. As you'll see in a second, this workpiece is going to be too high, which means it's going to sit on the workpiece here, but then this part is going to be above the little ledge on the laser where we need it to be. So we'll bring the laser into play on top of the workpiece, and you'll see that it slides over it and it's too high. So what we need to do now is drop the bed until everything lines up. So I'm just going to do that. Barely be able to see it moving on camera. There we go. That's now all nice and neatly aligned, and we can see that it moves just nicely there. Next job is to bring back up our laser cutting software, which is Lightburn. Let me show you guys this. So the first thing we need to do is we know that we need to make this logo a little bit larger because it wasn't cutting correctly. So we're going to make it a touch larger and just recenter it back into that position. Just like so. So now it's a little bit thicker on the P, it should cut a little bit nicer. We still kept it centered and everything else. The next thing that we need to do is we need to select all of the other lines. We need to get this ready for 10mm acrylic cutting. So we're going to do that just this way. We're going to flip the whole lot. That's now all set for 10mm. Then we're going to get the PT logo again, and we're going to set this back to laser etching. So now we've got the laser set up to cut a 10mm thick piece of acrylic. And what we need to do now is make sure we've got the bed basically laid out so we can produce multiple parts. First thing we're going to do is basically align this into the top corner as best we can. And then we're going to put another one alongside of it. And we're just going to cut 4 today. Just going to cut 4 of these. In fact, we're just going to cut 2 because it might take a little while to cut 2. So we're just going to cut 2. We're going to put them side by side. Just going to zoom in and make sure that they're aligned in height. They're not. We are now. So we've got 2. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to send that over to the laser cutter. And then on the laser cutter itself, we're going to make sure that that will actually cut both of them. So we're going to go into the settings, we're going to make sure that the file we have is correct. And then we're going to frame it. So you can see that that is going to nicely sit on on this piece of acrylic. And in fact, the acrylic needs to move down slightly so we're not using too little, having wastage. We're just checking that now. And there we go. That looks like it's going to be nice. So we'll give one of these away at the end when it's finished. But now we know that the laser is aligned in terms of the height. We know that the workpiece is going to cut correctly. We know that the workpiece is nice and smooth. It's nice and flat. It's ready to be etched. We know that in Lightburn we've got it set so we're going to do our etching first. Let me just show you Lightburn again, guys. And we're going to do that by just flicking the order of operations round so that green is on the top in that right hand box. Right at the very top, we're going to make sure that green is on top and then the black is underneath, and that's going to make sure that we etch the logos in first. All we're going to do now is resend that file because we know that we've changed something. We're going to overwrite it. We're going to check that everything is correct on the settings. We're going to reframe it one last time just because we've changed the file. And we can see that that's all going to cut nicely. It's just looking really good there. So all we need to do now is click on Start. Click on Start and get rid of Lightburn. It says, why did that not work? The machine may be busy or paused. Okay, have an issue with the machine. Not quite sure what the problem is with it here, but it seems like the framing of everything's okay. Oh, it's lost the file. There we go. It's lost the file. So let's just send the file over once more. Just going to check that it's got all the file settings in here again. Okay, that should work this time. Let's see. Interesting. It's not liking this. It's not liking it. I wonder if we've got something in the frame of view that it doesn't like. Okay, let's delete one of these and just cut one and see if that works. Maybe it's the second one that it doesn't like. Okay, I think the laser needs to be turned off and on again. Let's try turning it on and off again. Always the way. Let's give it a minute. Let's undo that and let's send the whole thing. Okay, let's try this again. Now we've reset the laser. Well, it seems to like it so far, but it did this before. Let's see. Nope, okay, it's not liking that. Let's just do one again then. Let's just do one. Let's just go back through the software. We're just going to undo all the changes until we have just one piece as it was, so we know that was working. Let's go from here, guys. Let's go from here. So set it to 10 mil to cut. Set that to 3 mil etch. Let's send that file across. Okay, it's not liking that. Okay, now it will. Send it across. 5th time lucky. Not 3rd time lucky, not 4th time lucky, 5th time lucky. Okay, so that's all looking good. Let's just change the order of operations, get our etching done first. Send this over. Okay. Frame it, make sure it's going to cut on the workpiece. need to move the workpiece slightly so that we've got it in the right position. Okay, if we get this to cut, we will give it away, I promise. Okay, let's start that. Okay, so there's something about that second part that it didn't like, but we fixed it now. And there you go, you can see it's etching in the PT logo. Glosses have a field day with those. If anyone wants some Vogon, I can give them to them. That's fine. Okay, PT logo looks like it came out a little bit better. Let's zoom in again and check this out. The cool thing about the clear acrylic is that you can actually see, guys, how the laser works it's cutting through. So in a second, when it does the horizontal lines, you guys will be able to see how that cuts. You'll actually be able to see the line appear throughout the laser. Turn the red dot off, it might look better. You can see it going all the way through. Can you zoom in a little bit more? No, I zoomed in as far as I can, unfortunately. There we go. You guys can see just how that laser's cutting and making its way through. Do you need to jump with the depth of the lasing? It was not clear on the 5mm. No, so the depth of the engraving is designed for clear. The issue was I didn't change the depth of the engraving because this is how it comes out on clear, but it's not quite as strong as that on coloured acrylics. The reason being, this actually has a matte surface on top, so I have to get through the matte surface to be able to get its work. Lars van Dartel, thank you very much for the follow. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So that was all it was. It was just a slight issue, but it's already done the proper PT logo. You can already see it on there. It's got the PT logo. You can actually see as the laser comes through how it cuts through nice and neatly. Is the PT with an open bonnet having issues? Is it okay? Get well soon. No, it just hasn't gone through its MOT yet, that's all. I'm still restoring it for its MOT. Needs a couple of things doing. The reason it's open is just so I can rewire the headlights when I get round to it. To pass UK specification, the headlights have to work in a certain way. They don't because it's a vintage truck, so I just need to tweak that. I just haven't done it yet. That's all it is. Wrong order, good order. Yeah, we fixed it. Tidal, thank you very much for joining, man. Good to see you, dude. Welcome to the Prototypist Workshop. We are making lube stations today. This is a 10mm thick acrylic lube station, and as you can see, the laser's just etching it through nicely like butter. And as I say, once this is finished, we'll give it away. Right at the very end of the stream, we'll give this particular lube station away to one lucky winner. I like the workshop man, makes you look like a craftsman. Well, the apron, yeah, the apron's a good touch, right? It's a good touch. This is what I wear pretty much every day when I'm here at the workshop. Apron, some sort of plaid shirt, and jeans, and that's what I do when I'm here at the workshop. But I'm not a craftsman. I wouldn't say I was a craftsman. I'm just someone who likes to make things. Yeah, the cool thing around the clear material is you can actually see the laser going through it, right? That's the really cool thing about this clear material. You can see the laser actually going through the material. You can't see the laser itself. That red beam is not the actual laser, but you can see the laser going through the material itself. It's really cool. Like here on this horizontal cut, just watching the laser making that line, it's really cool. This is one of the things that I could watch for days. Like sometimes I just get caught up and I have a whole coffee and I'll just be watching the laser cutter work, and before I know it, it'll be like 2 hours later and I've had a whole coffee and like 6 biscuits more than I should have done. It's good fun. It's good fun. Let's take a seat for a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite tools that we have here at the workshop. This with the 3D printing and the other tools we have here gives us so much capability to be able to produce stuff. It's really cool. Everyone in chat just peering at their screen. Well, that's fine. That's why we're showing you guys this. Soon title, soon. So we have a desktop CNC, which is a little bit like the laser cutter, but it's a CNC, and we can't cut 3D paths, we can only cut 2D paths with it. So at some point we'll have a 3D CNC mill, at some point. Don't know when, but we will have that at some point. Just get mesmerized by it, the next thing you know, your group buys arrive. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, this just cuts stuff for in stock more than anything. It doesn't really cut anything for group buys. But yeah, a CNC mill is definitely on the list of things to get for prototypist in 2021. So the white that you can see on the material is just a white paper backing on the back. The material itself is 100% clear, and it's going to look just like this is the lube station. That's what it's going to look like. Just clear, almost like glass on the edges. It's going to look really good. Yeah, I'm looking at a VF2 SS. That's what I want to pick up, which is like Salvin's smaller mill. It's like his original one. It won't be used for production, but it'll be used for things like prototyping, manufacturing small parts, things like that. It's unlikely that it'll ever be used for production of actual keyboard cases. That'll probably still be outsourced. But yeah, it'll be amazing for prototyping, building things on the flash, trying new ideas, that kind of stuff. I have Fusion open myself as well, and I still have Fusion open. This is the file that we're cutting right now here in Fusion. I've always got things going on in Fusion. It seems weird because I'm not a CAD expert, but Fusion seems to be the program that's open more than anything else on my PC at the minute. Renting time on a machine is troublesome for two reasons. One, different machines have different setups and they'll do things in different ways. So you would need to learn that specific machine and how you need to do things for that machine. If you rent different machines for different time periods, then that's going to change around. The other thing as well is that rented machine time is it's difficult to procure and it's expensive, and it's more expensive to have 10 hours of machine time than it is to pay the monthly bill on finance for a large scale CNC machine itself. So it kind of makes more sense to actually buy a machine if you're doing it on more than one occasion per month. Just going to tweak the camera slightly so we can keep this in frame. You can see here on this one, the PT logo looks great. You can actually see it in full. Or what you can actually see on there on the screen is the shadow of the PT logo. You can see the shadow that the PT logo creates. The PT logo itself is barely visible. Yeah, CNC mill time in like a makerspace or something like that is never enough to be able to do what you want in terms of the keyboard hobby. And using a proper CNC mill in a manufacturing establishment, well, they're going to want two things. They're probably going to want to do the work themselves and not have you do it because it's their machine. They're not going to want you to touch it. If you can find places that will allow you to use the machine yourself, it's very expensive. So, yeah. But being able to wake up in the morning, have a conversation with James in chat and say, that'd be a great idea for a keyboard, knock something together in Fusion, make it on the machine, test it out, and then have a product by the end of the day, that's going to be really cool. That's going to be really cool. And it is capability that we'll get to eventually. So you can see these bright orange flashes. On the bright orange flashes, this would be where we'd have the vertical marks in the material, and that's why we lift it off the print bed, off the work bed, just to make sure that those flashes don't actually come back up and mark the material with a vertical line. Crashing the head would be ridiculously expensive to fix. If you damage the spindle, man, you're almost in realms of new machine territory at that point. It's going to be incredibly expensive. At the minute I can 3D print forms and I can laser cut forms and plates and things, but having the ability to mill them in-house, that'd be amazing. And it's something that I'm definitely aiming for. A lot of people already know this, but around this time last year, I did approach Haas and try and purchase the machine. I paid a deposit, we had agreement for a machine to be delivered. 1,001 things happened. We had fitments for electronics happening here in the workshop and all sorts of other stuff. And then 2 days before the machine was due to be delivered, Haas changed the financial deal that we had agreed to something that was untenable. So we cancelled the delivery, tried to get around it, we couldn't, and then eventually they decided to refund me my money, which took nearly 6 months to get back out of them. But yeah, it's a whole thing. You know, unrelated, but I'm starting to think you need an FAQ channel on Discord purely to say when lavenders are coming back with how often it's being asked. Yeah, I probably do. Everyone asks for lavenders every day. Maybe I should add it to the FAQs on the site. Lavenders are coming back in late summer. Maybe that's something I should do. I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, I have a lot coming, a lot of lavenders coming. I ordered a lot this time around. Nearly 10 times as many as I ordered last time, so we'll see. I don't know what you would need 50,000 lavender switches for, but sure, you can order them. Shadow Pat, thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for the follow as well. Really appreciate that, man. Thank you. Welcome to the Prototypist Workshop. Today we are laser cutting loop stations, as well as numerous other things that we're talking about. Yeah, this is 10mm thick piece of clear acrylic that you can see in the laser cutter right now. That's being milled into a lubrication station. The lavenders might even last a week this time. Hopefully they will last a month. That's the plan, they will last a month. James thinks 2 to 3 hours. No, I don't think the lavenders will sell out that quickly. They lasted 3 weeks last time. No, 2 weeks last time. 2 weeks last time. Hope it's warm in your warehouse. It's chilly now. I actually have a temperature on the wall over there. It's 10.1 degrees in here right now. I'll go grab that and show you. I keep this on the door so I know what the temperature is at all times. It's 10.8 degrees Celsius now. 10.8 degrees Celsius. There you go. The racking for storing switches makes more sense now, knowing how many you're getting in this. Dude, it's already full. The racking is full for switches, but I need more. I'm going to buy another 2 of those racks just ready for the switches themselves. To be honest, not bad for the northeast. Yeah, it's been alright. It's been like 17, 18 degrees all day today. It's been really nice. And then tonight it's just dropped a little bit. But I'm comfortable in the workshop. I've got my apron on. I've got my thick jumper, my thick shirt on. Yeah, I'm comfortable here. I'm not cold. Yeah, I'm going to need a bigger space at some point soon. There's 2 options. I can either find another space that's nearby and use that at the same time, or alternatively, I can build a mezzanine floor in here. So you can see on the wall behind me, there's a big kind of like beam that runs across. That's 2.2 meters off the floor. So it's pretty high up. It's like 10 feet or so. There is an option for me to build a mezzanine that's in line with that, which is also in line with the top of the office, and have like a secondary floor in here as well. So that's something else I'm looking into. But that means involving a load of steel work and a load of building time and a load of downtime for the business. So we'll see. It's a 10mm loop station that we're giving away today, Vogon, but you can buy right now on the store one of the 5mm loop stations, one of the smaller ones, for less than 15 quid. These are really cheap. These are 5mm thick acrylic. They have glass cut edges. You can see it shining there. The 10mm ones, I will cut some later on this week, but the 10mm ones are going to be like 25 quid each. They're just going to be really, really expensive for what they are. A 10mm acrylic sheet. The sheet that I put in there of acrylic, that's like over 120 quid just for that one piece of acrylic. So when you consider that plus laser time, and I'll get like 6 loop stations out of that piece of acrylic, it's, yeah. it's not like 6 of this size I'll get out of it. It's not a huge amount of money, and there's next to no margin in them. So yeah, I don't tend to make these very often. The 5mm lube stations allow me to remain competitive on price and allow me to make a pound or two on each one, and also cover all the costs as well. So the 10mm ones, they're amazing, but they're just, yeah, they're too expensive to make, unfortunately. So I'm just using up material that I already have at the minute. I did not buy a Bacanico, no, I didn't buy it. You can see there that we had a flame underneath. Can you see that orange underneath? That's something that's technically on fire underneath, that's moving around. That's like a flame of something burning underneath. It's okay as long as it just keeps fluttering around like that, it's fine. It's probably like a bit of wood or something. Just checking it's alright. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's alright. It's fine. Sometimes in the little mesh we get bits of wood. I was cutting wood on there the other day, and sometimes those bits of wood, if they get a little bit too hot, they do burn. Yeah, the fluorescent ones are not going to be coming back in this size anymore, in 10mm. They might come back in the 5mm, but we'll see. Nice, nice. The mint ones aren't great, to be honest. I'm really... I may take the mint ones off the site. The reason being that 5mm with a 5mm bump on is just about right to put a switch in and have it not bottom out underneath. The 3mm ones, like if you use them on a soft surface or if you press too hard in the middle, it will bottom out the switch on the whatever surface you're using on. And I don't like that. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep the 3mm ones up for sale or take them down. But the 5mm and the 10mm ones are really, really good. They're really solid. Yeah, I'm not convinced that I should have made so many in the 3mm as I did. I should have used it for something else. But you live and learn. This is why we prototype. This is why we make things. This is the fun of being able to make stuff, and that's what I love about this. I love about my life right now is technically I'm retired. I don't have a day job anymore that I get paid for. I don't get paid for anything I do for Prototypist. It's all for free. I'm technically a retired but unpaid volunteer. That's my official title and my official status. But what it allows me to do is it allows me to have the free time to be able to make stuff all the time. So I can use all of the tools at my disposal to make things. So we're going to make some wall displays, and we're going to make we're going to upgrade a Dreamcast console, and we're going to make a streaming station, and we're going to code our Vesta board. We're going to do all sorts on stream over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be some really cool stuff. What software do I use for laser cutting? I use some software called Lightburn. This is the software just here. You can see it on the screen right now. It's really, really good for laser cutters, but it's only compatible with certain controllers. Depends on what controller you have as to whether it will work with your laser cutter. I recommend it more than any other software I've tried. Some of the other software I've tried is very lacking in terms of its abilities and some of the configuration settings it has. This is really flexible, and you can do a lot with it. My level of programming is not that I'm a programmer, it's that I can hack bits of code together to get stuff to work most of the time. I'm not really a programmer or a coder, I can just fudge my way through it a little bit, but I find that I code best on, ironically, a 40%. Like, if I'm using a 40%, that's probably my fastest board for coding. It's not for typing, but for coding, that's probably where I'm fastest. Mainly because I tend to bind shortcuts to certain things. So like I'll have certain parameters set to shortcuts, and I'll just live update those shortcuts in VIA. So I can, depending on what I'm working on, I can have like a command set back to just one button press. So that's what I tend to do. And I'm constantly adjusting what that does. But I don't really use 60% themselves. If I'm going to use a small board, it's either a 40% or it's going to be if it's not a 40%, it's going to be a 65% usually, or a TKL. I'm actually using 2 TKLs at the minute. I have my FLX Virgo here on the desk right now. That's kind of like an Alice style split. TKL, and then on my main office PC, which is where I do most of my actual typing, that is my F1 ATEX in black by Geonworks, which is one of the nicest TKLs I've ever had. Do you know, I don't own many 75%s. I don't own many 75%s. But there are some very nice 75%s out there, let's be honest. I drop a teaser right now, Aeneas, but I don't have it here. You've got them with you, so I can't drop a teaser even. I could just like flash it past the camera, but it's not here, it's with you. Okay, not too far to go now, guys. We've got the rest of this row to cut, and then we've got the top row to cut, and then the outside, and then it's done. And then it's done. Still sad you missed the jelly. What's the jelly, Twisted? What's the jelly that you missed? What's that? Oh, the Epoch. Oh, right, okay. Yeah, it wasn't one for me, but yeah, it's a nice board. It's a nice looking board. Yeah, I know which one it is now, yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to show you guys next week the up-close soldering that I'm going to have to do for the Dreamcast. One of the mods that we're going to do is the DC HDMI, which is giving the Dreamcast true digital HDMI output. And some of the soldering that we have to do that is looking quite terrifying. Like, I'm fairly competent when it comes to soldering. This is kind of worrying me, but we're going to do it live on stream. So we might have to do some drag soldering and some other bits as well. So I probably need to order some more flux actually, because it's going to be a really, really complex build, I think. So we're going to do a few things on the Dreamcast. We're going to install a GDEMU, which is going to allow us to play backups of games I already own off of an SD card. Backups only, guys, not copies. As well as that, I'm going to do a new PSU motherboard mod. I'm going to do a Noctua fan update, which means that I can have a cooler, quieter fan system on there. Yeah, SMD components and HDMI connector pins are going to be needed to be soldered for the DC HDMI connector, which is what allows me to plug a HDMI cable into the rear of it. Ginger Ferret, hey man, thank you very much for following. Good to see you, dude. Good to see you here. Ginger Ferret is a good friend of mine, IRL. We used to work together, but now I'm technically retired and an unpaid volunteer prototypist. We don't work together anymore. So this is a 10 mil thick Noctua fan. I can't remember the exact spec, but I already have it on hand. It's just one fan that replaces the Dreamcast standard fan, but we're going to be making that on stream. So we need to 3D print a shroud and all sorts of other things as well for it. I already have done it, but I'll show you guys how I would do it as well. Yeah, it's only a small one, yeah. In theory, I can do drag soldering, but I never tried it, and I don't think I'll ever try. In theory, I can do it too. I've only ever done it 2 or 3 times. The first couple of times it didn't go so great. The last time I did it, it went really, really well, and I was super, super happy with it. We'll see how it goes when we do the HDMI mod next week. We'll see how that goes. No, it's not a 120mm fan. It's like a, it's only the small ones. It's the small ones, like what you'd use on a 3D printer for the hot end. It's only tiny. Imagine this big fan on the side of a Dreamcast. No, it's not one of the big ones. But the Dreamcasts do run hot, so that's why we're going to modify it with these setups. So it's going to be an interesting stream because there's a lot of mods that I've never done before, and it's going to be interesting testing them at the end as well. I'm going to try and share as much as I can with you guys, and I can output the HDMI straight into Streamlabs so that you guys can see it as I'm doing it. I'm not going to liquid cool it now. This PC is liquid cooled. It has a all-in-one. So it's, well, I say it's liquid cooled. It is technically, but it's an all-in-one card that's in there. So yeah, it works. I have the same on my office PC, an all-in-one card in there, an AIO cooler. It should do all right. But we've got a 3018 here. That's not water cooled. That's just air cooled. That's standard air cooled, but it's pretty quiet. In this, I can't remember. I have no idea. The one that's in here, it came with the PC. So this was a pre-built PC from CCL Computers. So yeah, Yeah, a 38. Do you know why I've got the 38 in there? Because it was cheaper than any of the other options when I bought the PC at the time. So I needed a decent powered workshop PC for streaming and for everything else that I use, because I use heavily intensive programs. So it's quite a good computer, I'm told. I don't really know much about PC specs myself these days, but it's 64 gigs of RAM. It's got an MM2 1 terabyte hard drive, I think, in it, as well as a standard SSD hard drive. It is what processor is it? It's a Ryzen, I think, but I think it's 6300 plus or something like that. I can't remember the numbers. And then it's got a 3080 in there as the graphics card. Yeah. But yeah, I rock that to run Lightburn and Streamlabs and Fusion all at once, and it works just about. We're also doing this on Wi-Fi as well. The stream's on Wi-Fi, which is really risky. Normally I would only ever stream on a wired connection, but I haven't put the reels up to have a retractable Ethernet cable across the workshop yet. So technically we are running on Wi-Fi for this stream, which is dodgy as hell. But hey, it's working right now. Wi-Fi stream didn't die last week either. We streamed on Wi-Fi last week as well, so 2 work streams on Wi-Fi and it's going well. Hopefully it will keep and stay strong. All right, now it's starting to get a little bit cold in here. It actually says it's warmed up. It says it's 12.8 degrees now, but it's not. It's colder now than it was before. I think this is just because it's been near my coffee, so it's felt the temperature from that. I'm going to put it back on the door and we'll see how it goes. I don't know if you're allowed to answer this, but how do you select keycaps for PT and how many do you turn away? Well, it's me that decides whether I'm allowed to talk about it or not, because it's my company. The answer to that is I probably turn away just as many as I accept. So I probably turn away 50% of what I run. Or 50% of the people that approach me, I probably turn away, and 50% I run. How do I decide? It's generally based on a number of different things. Do I think it has the potential to actually be a big hitter? Do I think it's going to sell well? There's not much point in me doing a kit if I don't think it's got potential or going to sell, whether that be in group buy or in extras. Some sell better at group buy and do better and do worse in extras. Others sell mediocre in group buy but do really well in extras. So it really depends on how I feel about that. As well as that, it also depends on the designer reputation, what they've got, what they've done before, what comes before them, all sorts of things like that. And just, I've declined people just because their presence isn't necessarily the greatest within the community. You know, if people aren't good people in the community, I don't want to support that. So, yeah. My church did an outdoor service today and streamed using a 4G router. It only cut out once. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So we are streaming on BT broadband here, but it is fiber optic cabling and it's 1 gigabit. It's gigabit broadband basically. So it should be okay. We're streaming about 6,000 kilobits a second, I think. I don't think that's dropped at all. So let's have a look. Yeah, it's been pretty average, 5,819 kilobits per second. It's been pretty good. I'm not going to talk about stuff in public, Ferris, but I'm aware of that. But I was aware of that after I'd already agreed to run the SAT. So it's not something I'm going to talk about in public and ever give specific reasons to specific designers or anything else. But it is one of the things that I have as part of my contracts with designers, that I want them to carry themselves in good ways in the community. I don't want people to be negative or add bad light or bad publicity in the community, and there have been sets that have been cancelled after we've gone live as well. We have stopped running stuff after it's gone live because of things. So, you know, it all depends. It's all circumstantial. It's all dependent on what happens and who it is and how it portrays itself. But there's 1,001 considerations. It's not just a case of someone comes to me with a set and I say yes straight away. There's often a lot more conversation than that before we agree. Peas Lake, thank you so much for the follow. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Great username as well. Peas Lake. I like that. Reminds me of pea soup. There's more to this hobby than just the financials. I don't take a personal profit, so I don't take any money out of the business. I do not get paid a salary. I do not take dividends. I do not get paid money. So the financial aspect is, for me, is for Prototypist, is does the business stay afloat by doing this bit of business? Can it pay the rent for the warehouse space? Can it pay the gas bill, the electricity bill, the utility bill? Can it pay for the insurances that we need and the taxes that we need to pay? And as long as the answer to the yes, to all of those is yes, profit is not my number one consideration after that point. Making sure that designers are treated well and respected is kind of up there. I like to pay royalties really early and faster than most of the vendors do. Not that that's a negative, it's just the way I like to do it. But at the same time, I want people to treat the community with the modicum of respect that I give the community as well. I'm always trying to be a better person, and if I don't see that in someone else as well, then I may not want to work with them. But it depends on who they are, what they've done, and there's 1,001 considerations I need to make. It's not as simple as just looking at a set and saying, those are pretty colours, yes, let's run it. There's way more to it than that. As far as I'm concerned, I don't want to sell something I'm not proud of at the end of the day. Like, this is why I have this problem with the mint loop stations that are on the side of the Minute. Like, they work just fine, but there's a slight issue. If you press them too hard, they bow and switches could pop out because they're not quite thick enough in the material. It's 2 mil, it's 2 millimeters, but it bugs me, right? So that's one of the reasons why I might take them off the site, and they might not be sold anymore. But we'll still keep the Atomic Purple 5mm ones in because these are great. These are fantastic. I'm so happy with how these came out. They just look so good. The Atomic Purple is really nice. It's really hard to show you in the workshop lighting, but the purple is just really, really nice. I hope you do enjoy it. I hope you do enjoy it. It's a good colour. I will order some of the material in 5mm, and I'll do some projects with the material in 5mm. But yeah, it's not quite good enough for my expectations, and that's why they're really cheap on the site at the minute. That's why you can pick them up for next to nothing, because I'm not 100% happy with it. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I know who you are now. Great. This is really weird because you guys all know who I am and what I look like and what I do. But like, I don't know anyone other than their online username, so putting real life names next to usernames is really cool. Have you ever tried logo filling with acrylic enamel paints? Yeah, I wrote a guide about it. It's on TopClack. If you go onto topclack.com, you can read my guide to infilling by Jay. I wrote that. Yeah, so I've definitely done it a few times. I've even done it on stream. If you Google TopClack and Jay, you will find a number of streams where I've done it. I did it on a Prophet, I did it on a Canoe, I did it on quite a few boards on stream. Hi, I'm deaf. I apologize, I don't know sign language. Otherwise I would try and speak in sign language, but I don't know it. But I hope you can see me wave hello. There you go, topclack.com. Demotex has got it. That's the guide that I wrote a long time ago. And if you search for my Prophet build, I actually did it on the Prophet live on stream. So you should be able to find that on TopClack on YouTube. Okay, we're cutting the edge now, guys. It's now cutting the edge, the outline. So hopefully this is going to go okay. Yeah, infilling is good. The tips that I have for infilling is, if you're going to do it with acrylic paints, use water-based acrylic paints. Don't use resin-based ones, because if you make a mistake, you will not get resin-based paint off of your keyboard. If you use water-based paints, then you can put it in the dishwasher and it'll come out just fine, assuming it's on an anodized surface. And if it doesn't say on the bottle, it's probably resin-based. So I use a series of paints in the UK called Peeboo. I have no idea if they sell them elsewhere, but that's what I use here. And it's really good stuff. You can just swipe it across and infill the whole thing. E-coatings are usually okay to cover, yeah. Usually it works just okay. You could maybe enable subtitles in OBS for the next stream. Yeah, I'll have a look at seeing how I can do that. I will have a look and see if I can put subtitles in there for next week. No promises, but I will see what I can do. I have no idea where we do that in Streamlabs OBS. Let me see if I can find it now. I don't see it under anything. I'm looking for it now, but I'm not seeing it. I wonder if it's an app that I need to plug in or a plugin that I need to add, which I don't have. But I'll have a look. I will find out how to do it. I will find out how to do it, and I'll make sure that we've got some subtitles on for next week. It may be actually a stream setting rather than... it might be a Twitch setting rather than Streamlabs setting. I don't know. I'll have a look at it, and I will try and enable it for next week. Okay, almost finished cutting this. So once this is finished cutting, I'll go and take it off the laser cutter, and then we'll give it away. We will give it away. Someone's going to have to drop me an email to be able to claim it, but we'll give it away, and someone will have a nice new 10mm thick loop station. You can see that as well that we've had to really slow down the laser for the 10mm compared to the 5mm as well. On the 5mm it moves much faster, it moves at 4mm a second. On the 10mm it moves at 2mm a second. That's just because it takes longer for the laser to cut through. Faux Osprey, thank you so much for the follow. Is that named after the bird? I remember growing up, a friend had an osprey that lived in his back garden. We used to watch it with his dad occasionally. That was a really random memory. But yeah, I must have been about 10, maybe. And I remember watching this osprey in my friend's garden. His name was William. I remember his name was William. Can't remember his dad's name or his mum's name, but I remember his name was William. I remember my friend Dale fell in his pond as well. Man, this is bringing back some memories. All from someone's username. Wow. He had a pond at the bottom of the garden. We thought there was an electric eel in it. I don't know why, we were 10 years old. We thought there was an electric eel in it, and then Dale fell in the water. That was kind of weird. That was a long time ago. Wow. No, I can't remember his landline number. I probably had it at some point. I know he used to have a snooker table in his living room. I can remember his surname as well, but I won't share that on the stream. But he was called William. He was a really nice guy, actually. I have no idea what he does now. I've not spoken to him in 10 years. In fact, I've probably not spoken to him in 20 years. I probably haven't spoken to him since we were like 14, 15. I remember doing his paper round with him one day. That must have been, oh man, that must have been the mid-90s. That must have been like 96, 97, something like that. Maybe a little bit later, 98. It must be 20 years since I last saw him. It must be. I hope he's doing well. I hope he's doing well. I love this shot of the laser just cutting through, all the way through. It's really cool. You just see that the paper underneath is there, and then it's just not where the laser's been. It's really cool. Funnily enough, Will Osprey is a pro wrestler, but he's from Essex. Yeah, this guy wasn't from Essex, he was from a place called Cookridge. Yeah, but his name wasn't Will Osprey, he was just named as Will, and he had an osprey that lived in the bottom of his garden. Or at least I think it was an osprey. I'm sure that's what his dad told us it was. How random. What a memory to come back. Okay, we're almost there now, guys. We're in the home stretch. Probably about 30 seconds of cutting left. The Martian View Decimats are going to run soon. How long will it run for? I think it's either going to be 2 weeks or 4 weeks. I'm not 100% certain. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it'll either be 2 weeks or 4 weeks. Is your Virgo weight getting some nice patina? A little bit, nothing major, a little bit. Okay, almost there, guys. It's almost finished cutting. It's going to give 3 beeps when it's done. There they are. Let's go and have a look at what we've got. Okay, I'm just going to zoom the camera back out so that you guys can see the whole of the work bed whilst I take this out. First thing I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to try and take the actual piece itself out. Okay, there we go. picked up some of the bits of purple acrylic underneath, so we're just going to get rid of those. And we're just going to pop all of the inserts out. On the 10mm acrylic, these stay more in place because there's the friction of them. If you don't drop them out perfectly square, they don't tend to come out very easily. Okay, and you can see where we had the small fire underneath. There's a small blackened part on the back here, but that's all going to disappear as we peel this off. So that was just that piece of wood underneath, just giving off a little bit of smoke as it burnt, but it hasn't affected the quality of the laser cutting or anything else. So clean. And there we go, guys. See, we've got this really, really nice, crystal clear. It's really hard to show you how nice and clear this edge is. It's absolutely lovely. So there we go. And you can see that the PT logo has come out perfectly in this one as well. It's hard to show you, but the P is there, I promise. So yeah, so there we go, guys. This one we will give away. Let's flip back to the other camera. I'll show you guys this up a bit closer, the larger camera. Ta-da! So there we go. That's how cool this is. Got these nice glassy edged finishes. Now what we are going to do is, because this is 10mm thick, we're just going to give this a little polish. And what we're going to do basically is we're just going to run it through the flame of the map gas. I'll try and do this on camera. Which way do we need to go? We're just going to run the flame up the edges just to polish them off nicely. We don't do this on the 5mm ones, but we do on the 10mm ones. It'll be really hot now to pick up. That just means we get rid of any burrs or any material that doesn't need to be there. Just do this last side. And there we go. We have one flame polished lube station. There you go, guys. No, it should do 64 switches, should this? It should do 64 switches. So there we go. But we're going to give this one away. We're going to give this away on stream now. No, you can't stand it. Map gas is the winner for this. Flame polishing is better than sanding. Let me get up the Nightbot and let's do the giveaway. Okay, anyone can do this. All you need to do is type in a keyword, and that keyword is going to be station. So all you need to do, if you want to be in a chat with a chance of winning this, just type in the word station into chat, just like I have done there, and we'll roll a winner in a minute. If you do win this, guys, all you need to do is reach out to me via email. You can do that at j@prototypist.net. That's JAE@prototypist.net. So the winner does have to email me. All you have to do is email me with your Twitch username, and I will message you on Twitch. And as long as you come back with the same code, then I will ship this out to you for free, completely 100% free, anywhere in the world. Doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, anywhere in the world, I will send it to you. Super clean, yeah, they come out really great. They do come out great. My order in the background, Chrono Man, yeah, I've got a ton of orders in the background there. They're all getting picked up tomorrow morning. Got 300 switches to lube. Maybe you'll win this one. There's not many people watching, so maybe you'll win this. We'll give it another 10 seconds and then we'll roll it. Only about half of you who are viewing have actually joined in for this, but if you do want to win, you've got about a minute left to just sign in and type in the word station, and that will give you a chance to win this lovely lube station that we've just made in the Prototypist warehouse. So there we go. Really happy with how this came off. It came off really nice. Really, really nice. The winner should be very happy with this. I'm sure they will be. Deliberately not joining. I've already got one of your 10 mil ones. Ah, thank you, man. Good for you. Good for you. Okay, I think we're ready to roll it. So I'm going to roll it in 3, 2, 1, and the winner is Van Dartel. Lars Van Dartel. Lars Van Dartel. There we go. There you go. Thank you very much for watching, dude. All you need to do is drop me an email at j@prototypist.net. Include your Twitch account name. I will message you on Twitch with a code. As long as you reply with that code to my email address, then we'll be all good to go. But yeah, there we go. That's today's stream. So we've cut 2 files today. We've showed you how we've programmed them. We've cut one for Geo, which is his purple loop station with 64 switches, and then we did a 10mm version, which we've just given away, which has got this nice glass finish. It's like a piece of glass. This is lovely material. It's so good as this 10mm acrylic, and it's so expensive as well. How do I request a custom one? If you want a custom loop station, you can email me at j@prototypist.net and say exactly what you want. And we'll see how it goes. May be able to do something for you, may not. Depends entirely on what you want. Trinsen, thank you very much for the follow. I really appreciate that. It's 100% appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap up the stream there. It's time for me to head out now and go home because it's like 10 p.m. and it's pitch black outside. So it is time for me to go home from the workshop and get home. But I'll be here at the workshop first thing in the morning. If you want to keep up to date with what I'm doing, Instagram is the best way. I put updates on there multiple times a day, so you'll always be able to see what I'm working on. Do come back soon because we're going to have the streams where we're going to be building the stream working station, which is going to be a mobile streaming cart so I can stream from anywhere in the workshop. We're going to be upgrading my Dreamcast console later on in the week, and we're also going to be making some picture frames to display some cards, some uncut decks of playing cards. As like posters. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I'm going to head out now, and I'll see you all again very, very, very soon. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.